All right. Hey, we are here. We are here. We are
and
here. Oh,
and
wow.
you are doing double duty again.
Double duty. What's
Yes,
double duty?
double duty.
Double dipping or double duty?
All of them.
All up above. Wow.
Yes,
Welcome to the Taking the Journey show.
together.
Together. Exactly. Exactly. That's why we do that purposely. So she can say together.
Together.
I am Imar or Craig Butts in.
I am Sharon or Zare.
All right, all right. So we want to make sure that you out there who are there, make sure you share alike. So if you know your friends and you know some enemies and you know what all the people in between, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, make sure that you go ahead and do your thing and share and let people know that we are on the air.
Yes,
Mm.
and that we have some interesting things to say. At least we like to think they're interesting.
Oh, I think a lot of people listen to
Yes.
and think it's interesting, and sometimes they do like an old preacher friend of mine used to say: you put it in the
In the
deep
deep
freezer,
freeze.
and then sometime you're going to have to bring it out and use it. That's one thing for
Yes.
sure. I want to first of all say that we have to cancel our beautiful what is it, date night?
Date night for
Yeah,
that was scheduled for tomorrow night.
at
Carrie
Carrie Hughes.
Hilliard's.
We've got something that's came up that is how going to say it, beyond our control. So we have to counsel that. But we got something that's going to be coming up real soon. Am I right?
On the horizon. It's
Exactly.
very, very big, very uh we're excited about it. Let me just say it that way. We're
Exactly.
very excited about it.
So basically, what we said, now we haven't given up on it, and no, we don't want you to give up on it too. So please go out right now, go share with your friends and family and friends, and let them know that taking the journey is on the air. Hey, we're going to be looking at bringing
Taking the
back
journey
together.
together.
We're going to be bringing our guests here real soon. We got a
Yes.
list of guests, couples, interesting people that you need to talk to and that want to talk to us, and
Hmm.
get a chance for you guys to hear from. We just were told you need to get some more people on the air. People know, you know what you're talking about. People are like, we're not just tired of hearing you. We need to hear from some other folks too.
Exactly.
So we're going to get some folks who in relationships that want to talk about their relationships. Some that interface with what we talk about. Some that don't, but want to expand more. So
Yes.
be looking forward to us and looking forward to that.
And
You go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, no problem. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
We are also looking at moving deeper and more into coaching.
Oh yes.
So we have picked up a little bit, and we are going to focus more on our coaching as well. And so, if you are interested in coaching, and we can do it either virtually or face to face,
Yeah.
what?
If you want need some coaching, that's what it
Yes,
really is. Because
yes.
I heard you say if you know,
No, I
you
was
meant by it.
I changed my
Oh,
statement. I was
okay.
getting ready to say if you want to do it, I
Mm-hmm.
face to face or
Oh,
virtually,
okay.
but
Okay.
then I just said we can. I just
Yeah.
changed it midstream.
Okay. Cool.
Yes. So and that's something we're excited about too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, being able to help more people,
You,
assist them
and
in
the
in
information is going to be private. It's not
oh,
information that we give
definitely,
out to anyone else.
definitely.
Not even the names of the people that we talk to will be given out. So
Yeah.
don't worry about it from the standpoint of where somebody know who I am. No, that's not how we roll. It's
No.
going to definitely be
and
personal.
and then when you take into consideration that that's one of those things that especially on on my side, um I have to deal with that confidentiality piece on a daily basis, so I understand very well, and you've done this so many times that you understand very well as also that when you are in certain positions, certain situations, you have to be, as they say, uh, jokingly, but this is very serious. You have to be like the metaphor of Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So whatever we hear stays with us, because it's not a matter of us, just trying to, you know, play some kind of fun and games. This is serious. This is about life. This is about thriving relationships. This is about moving, helping people to move to the point where they want to be. So, yeah, we take that very seriously.
Exactly. Hey, it looks like we got one of our friends that we haven't seen for a little while watching too at the same time. Olaf, I think it is the guy's name. Yeah. Yeah, I think he's also
Sure.
looking. Yeah, yeah. Who-
Okay.
How's that pronounced? Ellis.
Um, I just say Mr. Ellis
Yeah,
because
there
I
you
don't
go.
want to. And that's the thing about me
Mm-hmm.
until uh, somebody helps me with the pronunciation of their
Mm-hmm.
name. I usually use the one that's comfortable, the one that I don't have to worry about messing up.
Oh.
I've learned a lot about dealing with names over the years from being, in the classroom
Mm-hmm.
because I have students with names that I can't even begin to
Pronounce.
pronounce, and then I
Mm-hmm.
have these the situations where, especially on the first day, I will
Mm-hmm.
come to the name and I say, okay, I'm going to spell this.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell me how to say it,
Mm-hmm.
and if I don't get it the first time, you can just work with me on it until I do, because I think names are very important.
They are
They
definitely.
mean something, and if you mispronounce them, you are changing the essence of what that person, or who that person is supposed to be.
Exactly, exactly. Well, we're going to get right in there. We got some viewers finally here coming in, and you're looking at our topic that we'll continue to talk about. Do we exchange energy during the sexy time? Do we exchange energy? Okay, besides physical fluids, do we also exchange any energy? And what was some of the stuff we talked about? I got a mess going on here. Let me
Yes,
get it out of the
you
way.
do.
Okay. Anyway, it's out of the way. So,
Yes.
what did we say last time we were talking about who we are as beings and how our makeup is? And I'll just leave it right there. It's not a test for you, so I'm just asking, just for those who
Um,
are catching up on this
you know
with
what?
us.
I'm just getting ready to fail the test. Oh, it is so upsetting
Mm,
to me that I'm
okay.
failing the test. No, um, there are different the light anyway. I'm sorry. We are able to. Are you asking what can we
Okay,
do?
she's failing already. She's
I
just
am.
stumbling and bumbling.
I am
And
because okay, this is what where the problem is.
you like Ty. If
I
I'm
had
not
no
specifically, you can't make
no.
that bridge.
Here's where
What's
the
that?
problem is.
Mm-hmm.
I was all set, and this is where I go wrong
What's
all the
that?
time. I'm expecting you to say one thing and you
Mm-hmm.
say something else, and then I have to regroup.
Because I pretty much asked you the question that I started as if I was going to end the question.
No, I was at the point where
Well, I'm confused now.
I was getting
You got
ready.
me confused.
I'm
You
sorry.
like getting me confused. I know you
No,
do.
no, I got confused because I was at the point where I was ready to give the mission or the vision.
Oh,
And
oh,
so
what,
and so I
go
was
ahead,
like,
ma'am. Go right ahead. In fact, that was in my mind. And anyway, go ahead.
and then I got
Go
okay.
ahead, love.
Okay, we are going to relate.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what anyone says, we are going to relate. But through taking the journey together, we strive to relate in a balanced way. And when we talk about a balanced way, we move away from the old ideas of you can either be friends or you can be lovers. And we stress that you become friends and you build that friendship into a lovership. And then that is how you have a balanced relationship.
Exactly. In other words, that friends, true friends, unconditional friends, are what you call the perfect energy, life energy, hint, hint, to connect together
Yes.
when it comes to sharing each other's story or
Yes.
life together.
Yes.
Perfect energy to build
Mhm.
because both are open.
Yes.
Both want to allow that life energy or that
Mhm.
life force
Yes.
to be expressed
Equally.
and be able to express it openly, equally. So no doubt
Yes.
about it. So I just gave a little hint when I was talking about the exchange there. What was the hint I said when it comes to these?
Exchanging energy.
Yeah, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Exchanging of energy.
And
Yes.
yeah, well, in that, what is
Yes.
it that is of us in that description?
Exactly. The it of us is the emotional, the spiritual, the
Life force.
life. Well, yeah.
Life force.
Yes.
You don't
Life
have to be that
force.
complicated, sister.
Okay. Life
I know at
force.
school you like to write those
I
long
know. I
dissertations
know.
with your highly educated way.
I
And my simple
yeah.
education that only went through high school and little trade stuff. I'm going to
Oh
be a
yeah.
plumber. Was that about it? Or
Yeah.
electrician, at
Right.
least, as I do
Right.
electrician work. Shocked
That
myself many times too. Then I had to move
okay.
on to doing IT computer stuff.
Which is not anything short of highly educated
A lot
experience
of people
and
don't think
knowledge.
so. I know a lot of people don't think
Well,
so.
a lot of people can't do it either.
That's true. That's
So
true.
so how can you say that something is not up to par if you can't do it yourself?
I don't know. A lot of people say
Yeah.
yeah, whatever. But on that note,
Hmm.
because I do know through that particular field, we had to learn about things that you don't see. It
Yes.
can actually do something to you, but
Yes.
you really don't see it and understand all that behind it. We're talking about the same thing, that we are energy beings,
Hmm.
and our energy can be looked upon as being our life.
Yes.
So that's why we look at it calling life force. Do we
Right.
exchange life force in that time of that sexual act? And of course, we talked about that. We do. It's not just a physical, psychological thing, not
Hmm.
just a mechanical action
Right.
of plumbing, physical plumbing that's going back
Right.
and forth. It's actually your energy being shared
Hmm.
back with one another. And part of that energy, some people will look upon as being in the realm of vibrations,
Yes.
vibrations, frequencies, as you hear other
Hmm.
people say. And you can attach those frequency and vibrations directly to what? Our emotions.
Yes.
Emotions. And if you are involved with that sexual exchange that people have, if your emotions are not being moved, are not happening, which we talked about sometime in the past
Yes.
in certain particular, like the oldest business in the world called sex workers,
Yes.
and how I would talk about some experience talking with them. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, and don't judge me now. Anyway, they talk
But
about
but
there's no real emotion. They have to go out of the way to
yeah.
create emotion
Yeah.
with their Johns, so they get the feeling that this person is really connecting, really feeling this, and they ain't at all.
Yeah.
Not at
Yeah.
all. Not even a little bit.
And see, and that's one of those things, where you say don't judge.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the problems that we have to deal with, and we end up dealing with a lot, and that has to do with the fact that um, we do judge other people on things that we've been taught are taboo. But even in that judgment, sometimes we hamper the energy exchange that we can have in relationship,
Yes.
because where you were open enough to talk to people, and just because they are in a profession that somebody has deemed not really a quality profession,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um why should I look down on you because you got to know these people?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, nobody looks down, and this is going to be a horrible analogy,
Mm-hmm.
but I think you'll get the point.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody looks down on the lawyer who goes to bat for the bank robber.
Mm-hmm.
They don't look down on them and
Mm-mm.
judge them um for dealing with them. So why should you be judged for having a conversation with someone who is not in a preferred profession?
So you know what you're talking about, don't you? You're talking about class.
Yeah.
Yeah, class. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what you're referring to. We got class going on, and many countries do that class
Hmm.
thing. I think what do they call that when it's
Caste
yeah,
system.
it's a caste
Yeah.
system that goes by
Yeah.
class. So yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that people look down upon it there. Well, in the relationship wise, what we're referring to, maybe people are not looking down on each other
Hmm.
doing that particular act. But they may not be understanding that you're really doing a life force
Hmm.
experience
Yes.
between one another. And because of that, if things are not shared in such a way where you're open to
Hmm.
agreement, it can be looked upon as being rape, of course. And then number two, of course, it can be looked upon of why am I doing this? And this is being done just for pure pleasure and not. And we know that there is, you know, at least presented that there are a lot of our mates who are female doing that energy exchange. I'll spit out exchange. It's not a family show, so I should be able to say it. That they're really not necessarily having an orgasm at all. So
Right.
that exchange of being able to have that high level of pleasure, they're not really enjoying, and it's a
Yeah.
one-way street that mostly the male occupants in the relationship. I said
Yeah.
occupants. I did say that.
Yeah, you
Male
did.
partner in the relationship is happening. And I think if it's understood, I know we'll talk about it too, that it's more looked upon a life force, then maybe there might be more sensitivity on the
Yeah.
male side of trying to make sure that that other being I care about and in love with, that their life force is also being satisfied too.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they are actually being able to share in the pleasure that comes along with what us guys get quickly or fast or in between,
Right.
whatever. And I think that's a fair, equal thing.
Mhm.
If we're talking, and as we're talking about this, and we want to move on about, try to move out of those toxic
Mhm.
kind of energies that
Right.
keep that from happening.
Mhm.
And remember, we talked about that from the standpoint of that if a woman is real open or assertive in an area, then she's looked upon as being what, fast.
Yes.
And so that can in a
Yes.
relationship,
Loose.
exactly. So in a
It
relationship, it could,
depends on the age. If she's young, she's considered fast. If she's older, she's considered loose.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that can,
You switch those around.
so that switch
The
one around.
screens.
What do you mean?
The top and bottom.
I don't have a slice. What you talking about?
The one at the top, bring it down.
What on the top?
Screen.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Never mind.
I was gonna say, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. What screen are you talking
Because
about?
when I look up, the light is in my eye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry about that. South
Okay.
setup. I know you're concerned about that now. We got to move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I thought you were going to change it. But anyway.
Oh, okay. I understand. You're right. Go
Yeah.
ahead. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
So
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
I'm sorry. I got to do everything. Help me.
Aw.
Man, I got to run everything. The
And-
train,
and-
the caboose, the back of the car, even in the front. I can't even sit and relax.
Oh, I'm sorry. I will make sure you relax after.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
On that note,
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
you're welcome. Now that I understood that,
Yes.
the importance of again sharing in that area is very important, and
Yeah.
that's where we want to talk about how do we get in our relationships the necessary life force that's concentrated in the area. We're talking about that sexual energy, be back and forth. What are the thoughts? What are our feelings? What are our misgivings? What are our hangups that keep us from being able to actually share, but share in such a way that there are no toxicity in it?
Yes.
I like the example of after we argue and fight, we have makeup sex. You hear that all the time.
Yes.
And yet, just like a drug
There was
addict or
even a
alcohol,
song about it.
exactly. But just like a drug or alcohol, once the drunkenness goes down,
Mhm.
and once the drugs wear off,
Yes.
you're back to where you were before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Even if there's some people who drink just to forget things that are their problems.
Mm-hmm.
But by the same token, there's some people who engage in sexual activities to forget about their problems.
Exactly.
Neither one of them is right, because after it's over, the problem is still going to be there. And so you're living in the quick moment instead of the long term, which is going to be beneficial and helpful.
Which is what we look at.
Yes.
Healthy and thriving relationships that are taking them together
Yeah.
as being that adventure. And we're not talking about casualness. So here's some things that we can talk about. We talked about before that will affect during that time of that exchange is what do you meditate in your thoughts about your sexual energy? I mean, do you actually have on your mind the meditation of that other mate in your relationship? Does it go around in your mind at work? Does it go around in your mind at home? Do you go as far as maybe to think about it? I'm going to talk about the women right now for a second. I'll go with the guys. I like those romance books you can find at Target, you can find in Walmart, that is all about romance time to build that libido or build that imagination up to hopefully get you ready, or maybe not at all, but yet and I could be bad about this, wrong, because it seems to pinpoint the imagination to be not towards your mate, but to whatever the character is.
Yeah, which is so. I'm sorry, those romance novels, they are so bogus, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, but you used to write them.
I did not write romance novels.
I've read a little bit of your romance novels.
But they were not like, okay, the Harlequin type romance novels is stupid. They're really kind of formulaic and nothing to them. What I wrote, more than romance novels, I considered them relationship novels.
Okay.
and adult relationship novels.
Yeah, but when I read them, I did not necessarily see them as being something that you would personally engage with. Excuse me, will personally feel that I could fit in this person's shoes easily and think this about myself, let alone think this other particular mate being my mate. I didn't read that. There was somebody else who was speaking that way, and there was like a disconnect. Some of the places that were set up were not a setup that you would actually be in, even in your own life, or with the common folks from that particular end. And you know how I am about fantasy. It's not necessarily something that will create or expand the reality that you're in.
Yeah, but they were not written for um they were not written for everybody, first of all, but
Mhm.
second, they were written based on um conglomerations of
Mm.
people that I came in contact with. Their job situations, were
And you felt the use of romantic stuff.
no,
Or you
I'm
just imagine it
no,
and
I'm
bring it.
talking about say for example, I know somebody who works in a corporate office
Mhm.
and the different dynamics that go on in that corporate office and the
But
different
that's no
people that they
different.
would
That's no
come in
different than soap
contact.
operas. That's the same thing.
Yeah, well, that's what books are.
Yeah, exactly,
You know,
exactly.
they are just the shortened versions of soap operas, but I
Mhm.
tried to have some bit of realism in it because um, people in certain areas,
Mhm.
my experience from talking to them and
Mhm.
listening to them, they would um, they would have certain experiences that I wouldn't necessarily have because I was not living
And
that
that's
type
and,
of
and
lifestyle. Yeah.
that's what I'm referring to. When we think about these meditative thoughts from a balanced, thriving relationship, it has to be able to fit us in our
Exactly.
situation
Exactly.
so we can move it on. Like you wouldn't want meditating in your mind, even though you have all the time. Ooh, man, I can't want to wait to get with Janet Jackson. Nah, folks, I don't want to get with Janet Jackson. This is just an example now. She's a cool girl.
Yeah.
But I'm just meditating in the day and fantasizing in my mind over and over
Yeah.
Janet Jackson and want to be with her.
And then
That's
you
not good in the
and
relationship.
then you go home and Janet's not there.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, damn,
So
it's
you're
her again.
disappointed.
Exactly. And that, vice versa.
Yeah.
Maybe yours is Denzel Washington.
Yes.
And you go, Denzel's not there. So we're talking about that level in the
Mhm.
balance of a healthy relationship
Yeah.
where it's that person, the mate that you're with, you're meditating
Mhm.
over in the mind.
Yes.
There's a guy, come to think of it, to get an example, who does romantic sensual photography. Now I'm going outside of the mind, but you can create it
Mhm.
if you took the picture and kept it.
Yes.
Where he will have couples come to them and he gets them in the mode of romance with one another, or one of them wants it for the other. And they take very romantic, sometimes exotic, sensual pictures, but they are of the couple.
Yes.
And so the couple uses that to meditate on and get their mind in their thoughts in that sexy kind of way. So I could see if that was done, where if I was on the job having a hard time on the job, instead of picking up that girly magazine,
Open
getting
your
up
phone
on the
up.
phone, I can open up my phone and
Go to that folder.
go to that folder, and I
Yeah.
have my mate there, and he takes the pictures in such a way that you're in a very nice central position
Mhm.
and pose that you're like, wow, okay, that's what I want to see because that's my girl, that's my woman.
Yeah.
And I can then follow through on that when I, hopefully that's when I come home. I'll make a date for it, one or two. But I think that's
Yeah.
more real of a way that we're talking to when it comes to having that healthy way of exchanging energy, life
Mhm.
force. What do you think about that?
I agree. I agree with that because it's one thing to fantasize like the books that I used to write, they were not for fantasy.
But that was that thing back then too.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not the
Yeah.
same way you were back then.
Exactly, but they were never for fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
They were never something that I imagined myself in.
Mm-hmm.
They were just stories.
Yeah.
You know, and as long as you can read books like that and you keep it in the proper context of
Are you
this is a
defending that?
story. No. I'm saying I'm saying
yeah.
this is a story.
Yeah, yeah.
This is for
Yes, you are.
okay, then I'm defending it.
Yeah, you
but
are. Don't
but
get mad at me, sister.
I'm not mad.
'Cause I ain't fantasy about you now.
No,
I'm like, nah, I ain't thinking about you now. You
no,
get
no,
mad at me over it.
no.
And that's the point.
Yeah, but
That when you get into
exactly.
that, it does not in turn bring that kind of mind thought.
Right.
Even when you're talking about it, you ain't bringing your mind thought in such a way that says, ooh, I'm ready to get with him now. When it comes, no, you're like, I'm mad at him for even trying to put down my bro.
No, see, I'm not
So
mad. Because I'm just,
so that's the point.
yes,
It is not getting directly to the point,
right.
specifically to do with your relationship, with the
Yes.
expansion of it in such a way where we're trying to build and expand on your own
Mhm.
relationship, not
Yeah.
someone else's relationship, but
Exactly.
your own relationship.
Exactly. And that was the point that I was getting to, that those books and things like that, books, movies, short stories,
Mhm.
whatever, they should never be anything more than entertainment,
Mhm.
not a roadmap to how your relationship should be.
Well, I think they should be thrown out, not to be on your shelf at all, because I see too many people have them on the shelf or moving to it more, because that's what's being sold mostly in Target and Walmart than the books that I just talked about to do with individuals. So there
Yeah.
could be more private libraries. There could be more privateness on the internet, as you already know. You can go to
Yes.
a lot of website porn-wise. You can see a woman in her house all by herself, or a guy making pretty good money that you can on your own stay connected to and having to go through every kind of position that you asked her to be able to do. Why can that not be with you or me?
Exactly.
And I think
And
that's the route I'm saying to move to when it comes
Yeah.
to a balanced relationship.
And I agree with that 100%,
Mhm.
because after all, that's who you have chosen to be with. That's who you have chosen to share your life with. And that is a part of that life force that you should still
Exactly.
be sharing.
And that's what's not happening, which is why we're bringing this up. There's not that understanding at the grassroots level that we're talking about a life. This other
Yes.
human being is just not a physical, mechanical, or biometric thing that you
Yeah.
interface. They have energies, they have loves, they have likes, they have dreams. And when that sexual energy is connected to, there's a lot of life force that is there, present, prepared,
Yes.
and ready to move into someone else, or in turn shared. And that is something that we should take in the long term, especially in the word I call sacred.
Yes.
Sacred.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is an indication when you talk about meditative thoughts
The
during
word meditative is usually
Yeah.
used in a sacred kind of place when it
Yes.
comes to communicating with
Yes.
yourself, your spirit of God. Yeah.
Yeah. But wouldn't that make sense when you think of it that way? Wouldn't it make sense if you are getting into a position to be ready to connect with your partner in a oneness situation
Mhm.
where you are um, in essence becoming one? Shouldn't you meditate and get into a clear space before you do that?
I don't know what to bring that up.
Because you talked about
Are you
meditating through
talking
the
about
day.
having another kind of meditative thought, like maybe we talked about before, small talk or text that people use to kind of flirt with one another. I forgot what it's called, sex texting,
Sexting.
where you can flirt back and forth
Yeah.
over text.
Well,
And that's another way to start some meditation.
well, that's true too, but not necessarily that. I mean, not saying that that's not okay, but I mean, somebody who is, because not everybody is creative enough to do that.
You can
But
always
just
draw a stick figure, put the right atomical parts on it with a rose, and then send it. You'll do just like that. You'll be in class or at work. You'll laugh at it,
yeah,
but you still get the point.
I could see you doing that too, and
Okay.
and while I'm sitting in a meeting and I open up my phone
I
and there
doubt if
that
I did
is.
that. I'll
But
send you the real thing. I don't think I would do something silly like that. But I mean, you got the point.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, but what I'm saying is, meditating on being open, meditating um, on giving your best, on sharing your best, the best part of you. Meditate on being on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Centering yourself, I guess, is another way.
Yeah, but
of
remember,
saying.
when we're centering ourselves, not on a tree, not on the flower, not on the new car you want, not even on trying to find out more who you are. You are centering, in this particular case, on that other person that you care about in a
Exactly.
sexual. I like to use the word
Yes.
sensual way, because
Yes.
to me, sensual is more of a higher arena
Yes.
than just plain
Yes.
sex in this particular case. And we talked a little bit more about it. Let's move to our next one. This, I think, will help highlight this too.
Mhm.
What issues do we have when it comes about sex? What are some issues? One of them, I don't want to go back into, is that we use a lot of imagination about sex or sexuality with other people,
Yeah.
other couples,
Yes.
movies, shows,
Mhm.
and it could become an alternative fantasy
Yes.
and leave that life force, okay,
Mhm.
that life force energy from being actually transmitted over in your own relationship,
Right.
because you got to go in someplace else. And
Mhm.
we know that a lot of other relationships that have happened, because maybe that's not happening in a relationship, will find their energy, life force, through the area of emotions, because this is where that energy or that
Right.
frequency is used a lot. Emotion is transferred over to somebody else, because
Mhm.
someone else either sees it and feels that that's not being satisfied, okay,
Right.
or
Right.
being cut off that life force energy, or not
Mhm.
being really, how can I say it, in a transparent way, even shared, and therefore someone else, oh, I see that, let me take advantage of that situation, and,
Exactly.
opens up
Because if
another
you're
door.
doing something like that, what you're also doing is detaching yourself from your
Mhm.
partner.
Yes.
And if you are detached from your partner, you are not really contributing
Mhm.
positivity in that energy exchange.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, we're going into this deeply head on. Hey, if you got any questions, maybe you have some answers. Maybe you got your own experience you want to share. Make sure that you always do that. This is not all about just us, even though we try to provide some overviews and some overstanding too at the same time. But we love to hear some input from you. Love to hear your thoughts and your
Yes.
feelings. No question or thoughts are stupid whatsoever. Don't ever think that on our show. We're going to go to our commercial real quickly. I want you to check out these commercials, and then we will be right back. Hey, look at this. We're back. Got a short commercial for you out to see, a flyer. It's a great grand ball that's going to be going on February 25th, 7 p.m. We hope to be there. Hopefully, we won't be out of town. We know this young man who's a king of village. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
What?
your Tunji.
Yes, and his wife's too at the same time. It's going to be a beautiful time. We know it's going through two chefs. We got much love for you. If you hear about it, we got much love for you. So if the word's out there that we don't, it's just not true. We have much love for you from that particular, as you continue on to expand in what God and the gods have given you to do. good brother, and good what he's doing. His father did to create a African village with the zip code and everything right here, right up the street in South Carolina.
Yes.
Beautiful place. We've been up there many times to visit
Yeah,
and had many
yes.
good conversations with this brother. Again, we hope to be there that particular day. Coming out, wear your dashikis. Where are the other African clothes that you know you've wore before? I hear Brother Jamal is going to be there speaking. By the way, he was here. Where was he again with us?
He was at the Chamber of Commerce
Yes.
in Richmond Hill on last Friday night, and it was
When the heck should I have it up? Oh no, I don't have that. Oh
yeah,
no,
it was amazing.
yeah, it was amazing show.
Yes, he spoke as he always does in such a prolific manner.
Yep, yeah, I was
And-
right there. Had to.
and yes, and connected so many things together. The thing that was just really interesting were there were people in the audience that had never met each other before, but through his speaking and his the statements that he made,
Mhm.
he connected these people where they were like, oh yeah, that's my people, that's my area,
Mhm,
that
mhm,
do you know this, that, and the other, and it was like families meeting each other for the first time. It was really a good connected feeling from it.
It definitely was. Definitely was.
Yes.
Hey, let's do a little bit of our shameless promotion. So let me start first with the hot buttons. Give it to it.
Yes. What
Hot buttons are not on. What a shame. Why don't you
All
tell
right.
about it? Even though it's not there, I can find one. Go ahead. Talk a little bit about it. I'll find it. And there it is.
There it is. Our hot button. If you don't have your hot button, you know what to do.
We were talking at a special place tonight. It's
Last
going to
night.
be last night. Where we're
Yes.
going to be excited to talk about a special place. We'll be doing some things that have to do with taking the journey. And we asked them what hot was, and they got very, very, very close. I think one of them said a highly hot
One of them
something relationship.
One of them said happily over the moon or something
Together,
like
right?
that.
Something
And
like
I
that.
was like, you know what? That's kind of cool.
And that wasn't cool at all. It sounded like the cow jumped over the moon. Nah, brother. Nah, that was not working.
But I
It's
like
over.
the idea of happily.
Well,
Because that's one of
okay.
the things that
Yeah,
we.
well, you can sometimes be honest, but not be happily
Well, that is true.
honest. And
That
in
is
your
true.
relationship, or happily open or transparent.
Yeah.
In that relationship,
Yeah.
happiness is not always something that happens in
Yes.
a balanced relationship.
And-
How you
and-
go
and-
through that during that time when you're
Yeah.
unhappy, and I'll be able to get back to that is the balance
Mhm.
of a thriving relationship. And remember, we don't give that idea whatsoever that a relationship is perfect.
Yeah.
That's not it. But that's
And
what's been
and that
pushed.
is that's true too, because happiness is relevant.
It is.
It's just you may be completely happy in a particular situation,
Mhm.
and at the same time,
Like
I'm totally,
having my stereo equipment with my mixer sitting on right now the coffee table in front of our big screen TV.
yes,
I know you're not happy about that. Even though you're smiling right now, and I'm using that as my test area
well,
with big old speakers on both
okay,
sides.
now that is the thing. When you said the mixer and everything on the
Yeah,
coffee
yeah.
table, I can handle that. But the skirting around the speakers,
It's not going to be in there long, dear.
I know.
It's not. It's
I
not when
know.
you know how I love audio equipment
I
and stuff like that.
understand.
I just got to test it. Pretty soon it's going to be out in the real world to being used
Yeah.
in unity and community. In fact, we're going to be at the Weeping Time event, March 4th?
Fourth,
Between 11 and 3 o'clock, we'll be out there providing the sound and the music and the beautiful kind of, how can I, uplifting,
mhm.
conscious,
And the knowledge
and music out there. I think Brother
Yes.
Jamal is actually going to be what?
the
MCing
MC,
out there too at the
yes.
same time. So we want to make sure you come
Yes.
out there. It's actually going to be at the what center we've been
In
in before?
Market Arena.
In Market Arena.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be at the building at the end of the In Market Arena where they have the big prolific signs of old historical
paintings, yeah.
pictures on that building.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we're going to be. So we're excited about
Yes.
actually having a chance to be there from that end. So what's
Right.
another commercial that I want you to do with our shameless plug? It's another one. I'm going to put it up here. What's that one?
Oh,
Wow.
WRUU.
Yes.
We've got so many. I didn't know which one was coming.
Okay.
Yes.
We're gonna
Taking
know.
the journey on WRUU at
Mhm.
9 o'clock on Saturday morning. WRUU is a low power radio station,
Mhm.
and we are excited about doing that one
What's
also.
is the new committee we got assigned to?
Oh, don't make me say it because I can't
Well,
remember.
it has to do with diversity. We're trying to get
Yes.
WRU to look into being more involved with the urban community, the Black community, because many Black folks don't know much about that station whatsoever. Even though during Martin Luther King in Savannah, we actually did what we did?
We
Did a
announced the
live,
parade.
yeah, live announcement
Yeah,
show
we did a
here
live streaming.
representing WRUU.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we're trying to get there are Black hosts on WRUU.
Mhm.
They do reggae. There's one sister we talked to that does about unrighteous, unethical, social unjust things. She was talking about
Issues,
some
yes.
other African American burial grounds besides just the Weeping Time that exists that need to be known in the Savannah area. And of course, we have two others. There's a sister girl that does the Sister Girl Show Sisters. I forgot what it was.
I can't remember.
So
There's today
I think
my
there's only
mind
3 or
is on
4 of them.
overload.
So
Yes.
they're going to be out there that day at Weeping Time too in a tent to give the opportunity for any African Americans who would love to be able to start a show on WRUU 107.5. You have the opportunity to at the same time, like we do. We're on both. We're on this network, beautiful network. We're also on WRUU. So you have a chance and the opportunity to be on both if you can and share your story, what you feel, what you think when it comes to music, when it comes to your thoughts and art and all that good stuff on that particular radio station.
Yes.
So that's going to be lovely. What's the next thing? By the way, that's on Saturday. What time?
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Saturday
so
mornings
Eastern
at
Standard
9
Time.
a.m. Yes.
What is our next one that we're going to talk about? I'm going to do this one down here. The old Taking the Journey website itself that you can go to, our Facebook site that has all of our radio program show, WRUU, and of course the live stuff that we're doing, live streaming here.
Yes.
Last but not least, our Unity in the Community on River Street. We're starting pre-St. Patrick's Day from the 10th to the 12th, right down on
March.
Osaka's Plaza.
Yes, and we're there all day and deep into the night on Friday and Saturday.
Exactly.
And all day on Sunday.
So we want to make sure you come down and enjoy yourself
Yes.
doing that. Get to see not really us. We got young folks who are taking over to run this show. They've been wanting to do it for quite a while. They say we're too old.
Although
So-
we'll be down there Saturday and Sunday.
Probably so.
Yeah.
For the kickoff this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably will be
Yeah.
on
The
that time.
11th and 12th.
Mhm.
Can't do Friday. Gotta work.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so now we're back to where we were before, and that was where?
We were talking about the issues that we have about sex today.
Okay, what's some other issues when it comes to the sexual exchange, besides what we talked about, those two sides? One, they have to do with stereotypes, being women being too assertive, they're looked upon as being too fast. How about the side that I didn't bring up that had to do with maybe men, especially the stereotypes of African Americans, that they have to be like the image of a Mandingo,
which is
meaning
a negative
he's got
image
to make
in
sure that
themselves.
on command he boom there,
Yes.
ready.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking
Exactly.
about? Ready to go. And if not,
Mhm.
he ain't no real man from that particular point. How
Yeah.
about that being pushed?
And that is truly a stereotype that is, it's a negative stereotype because it diminishes a man to an
Sexual
object.
Yeah.
You know, just something, and I said something intentionally because that's what that stereotype does. It makes them. It stops a man from being treated like a man, from being treated with humaneness. And it says that you're nothing but a thing for pleasure, and that's your only purpose. And no man
If he's a real man,
should
be
have
comfortable just with that.
exactly. If you're comfortable with yourself and you know yourself, you can't say, okay, I will do this. There has to be more substance, and I think that's one of the issues that we have with sex today, because that it is not about the interchange between people that is on the soulish level or the spiritual level. It's about the feeling. You know, how do you make me feel? And it's self-centered. It's a self-centered understanding. I believe. And it's not about sharing. It's about what you can do for me.
And when you're at that level, and you don't think of yourself as a energy being that has the ability to share your energy force, then you're going to default to what a lot of society and is defaulted you to, which is my more toys, and my toys got to be bigger before I die. Worse than that, as African American males who've been enslaved, it's more my body is a thing and it's been used, and they still make money off of our pain.
Yes.
And that's how I'm only left when that
Yes.
becomes that end. And it's a shame in many of our relationships, especially survival relationships, that we're just drilled down to only that, just a physical sexual thing, and that's it.
Yes.
In that matter. And it can cause that disillusion, it can cause that confusion, and can cause for example, some men who had some women who have argued with him in that very same thing, even though it was something else, and they would say, you ain't no real man.
Right.
And there many times their message is really talking about in that physical area. You ain't doing what a man should be able to do, and messing with their ego in that area.
And it's not even, you're not doing what a man should be able to do at that
because
level.
I think that's what you think you should
Yeah,
be able
at
to
that
do.
level,
Yeah.
it is saying that you're nothing more than a thing to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a harsh thing.
Yeah.
For somebody to say to somebody that they claim they love.
Think about it in cultural differences in African American community. At one time, they actually had breeding camps or breeding plantations. They actually bred Black men and Black women to only act in that sexual way, so that, like cattle, that they could actually breed more at the same time. So have
for bigger and stronger.
Exactly. So there's still that muscle memory or that DNA memory that still happens and still is passed down to us a lot in our relationships. It's really sad that some of the young men coming up now who are still fighting over that and wrestling over that, and are feeling less confidence in themselves. I know it's getting better now.
Yes.
Hopefully it is. I mean, sometimes they may attach that thing. I'm a god now, which is cool, and I have the ability to be able to create, but yet they'll carry still that baggage with them in that matter, and not refresh it totally in that matter. It's still connected to me more who I am physically, not to more who I am as a spiritual being with that life force.
And in a lot of those cases, that is nothing more than false bravado, because the understanding or the expectation of what it is to fulfill that terminology, that idea, that attitude of a God is not correct either. It's almost like if I say it, it is.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have to believe it, but if I say it, it is, and it becomes something more than nothing more than that.
Exactly.
It's almost like a slang term, but it's all about how you live as opposed to how someone perceives you.
I heard someone say that there's a lot of those who try to act like or say they're God or goddesses, but they divine.
Yeah.
And they're definitely not too sacred at all.
And they don't know the difference, and that's sadness.
Exactly. Yeah. So what is your relationship with sex today? What is your relationship with sex? Do we have relationships in sex when it comes to that exchange? Again, we're talking about energy exchange. Is it one of those things in a relationship where you're so busy and you want it to come to pass, you like to come to pass, you have to both sit down, look at your
I'm free at
appointment book
at 6:00 on Saturday. Oh, no. I've got something else to do. Make it, that's not having a good sexual relationship.
Yet a lot of those who are trying to expand and trying to build in the relationship and make it a lot more productive, you may want to say, they may think that's the best way to be able to handle the relationship in that way. Schedule it. Look at your schedule, look at my schedule, and kind of make that happen. You don't look at me as that is being too cool.
No. Where is you know, there are two folds to that. One is
Some of you out there know what I'm talking about. You're in a relationship that people busy, got kids and stuff. You're tired, and so the next best thing you can think of doing is, I got a schedule, baby. Let's schedule this to make this
yeah, but
happen.
if you're tired
Mhm.
and you have a free moment and you're going to schedule it in for that time, you're going to be too tired to enjoy it anyway. So the thing of it is,
Be-
where's the spontaneity,
Yeah,
first of all,
yeah,
and second of all, you're not putting your relationship as a priority.
that's true. That's true.
You know, it is just one of those things. And
Exactly.
once again,
But
we're back to the thing.
or because my past background in heritage and through the family is just there for procreation. So even though I'm doing this, I'm not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I got to get this done for kids, even though I don't have kids. But I'm not really going to enjoy
Or
it. Yeah.
or while you're exchanging, or you're in the sexual,
Mhm.
you know, you're having that sexual exchange,
Mhm.
you're, instead of you relaxing into it,
Mhm.
you're more concerned about, um
Food,
well, not really
gas and car, job
that,
tomorrow.
yeah, or
When is it going
did
to get over with?
or how to put this report together that has to be done in 3
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, no, you you build yourself and you make yourself believe that your relationship is good.
Yeah, it leads into this next question too. Do you feel depleted? Do you really enjoy it? Many of our relationships that we deal with and we talk with young folks who are trying to build big time, and I give my take off. I'm not going to take off my hat, but I take off my hats to them. They are very depleted. They are very tired. They're doing 2 or 3 jobs like Jamaicans. I think stereotype, but anyway,
Definitely.
they are very tired, and so the sex thing, if it does happen, is strictly just mechanical, bam, bam, thank you, man, get it over with from that end. But they're really not enjoying it. And the mate, as we talked about before, because sometimes it could be a little bit longer for a woman in this particular case, or in a different way when it comes to that orgasm and all that good stuff. It may be something that they didn't enjoy at all.
Yeah.
Maybe he got his rocks off, went on his way. Like what's his name?
Bernie
Bernie
Mac.
Mac said, "I got mine."
I'm gonna give you 3 minutes.
Exactly, that's what he said. But I mean, but that part is very real. And if you are not operating in the mindset that this is, I'm an energy being and this is an energy exchange, I have more to and of me to bring to this when it comes to our relationship in that sexual area, and vice versa, then you're going to be depleted a lot. You are going to be tired,
Yes.
and when it's over, it's not going to be a peaceful relaxation. It's not even going to be an energy in such a way where I'm going to make breakfast for you, or oh baby, let's go and do something else because this was so good. It gave us our energy to do
Yes.
something that's going to be, and
Yeah.
that's about it. And
Yeah.
the kind of tiredness where you feel like you were so knocked out that someone drugged you.
Yes.
From
Yes.
I mean, that happens sometimes. Don't get me wrong, but if that's the only
If
thing that
it's
happens,
all the time, there's a
that's
problem.
definitely a problem. Your mindset, something toxic is going on there.
Yes.
And of course, there's solutions like tantric,
Mhm.
which is a way to bring that sexual energy, or that driving a force, as we talked about, life force, in such a way where you really don't have the sexual touch really at all. So you're not really going through the
Yes.
act, but you're using different ways of being able to experience that same energy with one another. So that energy is beyond just your physical touch. That's really something that's inside you that
Yes.
you both can actually share with. And some people say that you can move that energy in such a way it can bring healing in different parts of your body because it's just that powerful.
Yes.
From that particular end. Yeah, yeah. So when does it become a duty? It's probably a last one before we have to call it quits. You got 2 minutes. When does sex become nothing but a duty?
When everything else is
It's my duty to be able to please that booty. I mean, there was a show that I think I watched. I don't know who it was. Oh, come on. Remember Shaft? Remember the new Shaft?
Oh gosh.
Samuel
Yes.
Jackson
Yes.
said that to that one. I like that sister
Yes.
too. That
Yes.
was played his girlfriend, who
Mhm.
was a bartender. I remember from way
Yes.
back. She put tough ass.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember he said that.
When there is no no love in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just casual, and there's no real meaning,
Mm-hmm.
and like yes, it's just casual.
How,
That's when it
how
becomes
about
abuse.
how about on the other side? It's your duty to please me because that's how we have set up many times in the traditional relationships.
Yeah,
Old school, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
A lot of what generation was before us called again? I'm trying to say we're not part of what was it called?
Baby
Yeah,
boomers.
we're not. The baby boomers were kind of like it's only for having kids, and
Yeah,
the other one is only just for him to
yeah,
enjoy himself. You ain't
yeah,
supposed to really, yeah,
yeah. My duty is to
please him. That's about
yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, what a
Or
shame.
be his release.
Yeah, exactly,
Yes.
exactly. Wow, that's crazy.
It,
That's
it
real
is.
crazy.
It definitely is.
It is. Wow.
And that's when you have nothing really to share. That's when it becomes abuse, I think.
Yeah. So how do we deal with sexual energy or that life force sexual impulses that happen before that sex act? That's what we're referring to, and how it leads you, and hopefully that a toxic way. You got to transmute that sexual energy and reconcile those spiritual practices and aspiration. That's right. You can transmute that energy. We're talking about
Yes.
ways of how you handle it when you actually are involved with it. Now we're talking about the ways that you can transmute it. When you change it into another energy when that action can't happen, you at work or someplace else,
Yes.
but you're still thinking about that person, or you really don't need to be thinking about it at that time. There's a way you can transmute that same energy and move it into some other areas. When we come back next week, we're going to talk about how do you transmute that sexual energy into something that can help heal you, something that give you motivation, something you give energy, because that sexual energy, that sensation that comes from your life force is very strong,
Yes.
very powerful.
Yes.
Okay.
Until next
time.
week.
What's going to happen next week again?
Next week we will continue. And between now and then, stay hot.